Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Women's Fittest. Look at this, we're doing an introduction. Melissa is off making her career greatness, so she's with us, not with us today. I love that about her because she's all about the networking and making this the best career that a bodybuilding athlete can make for her career. So I love that about her. How's everybody doing?
Great. It's freezing in Arkansas. It's too cold for me, but just another reason to move to Florida.
Same. It's cold here. It's like, I think, well, I don't know what it is, but it snowed a little bit. It's probably like 18. I don't know. It was 18.
Yeah, we got like 6 inches of snow last night. And
oh yeah,
I was just telling you guys about my week and I'm not going to go into it, but I went last night. I said to Anna, I'm sleeping in this morning. I'm like not going to church. And she goes, okay. And then she told me after she got home, like they hadn't even plowed the parking lots around here. So she was like, yeah. I'm like, oh great. My 16-year-old daughter, she goes, I can do a good job in the snow. She goes, I do a great job controlling the car when it fishtails. I'm like,
oh gosh.
True.
She said they shoveled a path on the sidewalk the size of the shovel. Like that's them shoveling the walk. But it's like everything, like you get the bare minimum when you're hiring help right now. Like help is it's just shitty. It's just, you get the shittiest workers now because you can't get anybody to work with this frickin' economy. I said it.
That's so true though.
It is. When we were building our house out, like the contractors were so flaky and, just getting people to come. And it was a freaking nightmare. But yeah, like still we're even having issues with just getting somebody to like actually, come when they say they're going to. So I feel it sucks.
It's easier to sit home and have the government pay you.
Yeah.
It's like we're living life wrong, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're doing something wrong.
When we had the lockdown, they actually like kind of double hired me because they wanted everything sanitized every day. So I was working like 10-hour days, 7 days a week for about 8 weeks or so that like everything was really shut down. And I was so thankful that I had something to do because I freaking would have lost my mind if I was just sitting home staring at Facebook, wondering what kind of madness was happening in the world.
Facebook will get you like fired up. During that whole shutdown, I was like, delete, block, unfollow. I mean, it was just crazy. Crazy.
That is 100% what it was. I was like, it just because it's not even that I disagreed so much with opinions. It was just like, I don't need it. I don't need to know what you're thinking at this point. And then the more people would talk, the more I was like, I can't have you in my life.
Well, it's like toxic, like that negative energy can really take a toll on you. It might not necessarily bother you. You'll read through Facebook or scroll through some stuff, but I'm like every single day, it just, and people, the arguments that they get into on social media, crazy. I mean, people are like brutal. They will cut your throat, it is insane.
It's very dividing too. Especially like, every single, like, part of it, like you are on, if you believe this side or if you believe this side, like people were being so divided and they're still being divided over like vaccines, not vaccinated. And I mean, I don't get, I'm not ashamed that I'm not vaccinated. I mean, I'm almost afraid to tell certain people because they will like shun me, or blame me for giving them COVID. I'm like, it's not how
they'll attack you.
Yeah. I got blamed and I was like, hell no, I didn't. But anyway, yeah, it's good to just kind of like take that break, I think, because people are just getting really nasty.
Yeah.
But you're so right. It's a shame that you have to be afraid to tell somebody that you're not vaccinated. Because I kind of just avoid the question. Now, if someone directly asks me, are you vaccinated? I'll tell them no, but other than that, because people will, I mean, I'm like, I'm not anti-vaccine, but I'm not for it either. I'm kind of like, if you want to get vaccinated. If you don't. If you want to wear a mask, wear a mask. If you don't. But some people, they will legitimately attack you. and just, they're brutal. I mean, they will call you names and it's insane just for not having the vaccine. But like, we don't preach overall, like a good, healthy lifestyle, you know, but God forbid if I say that to somebody, I'll be the bad person.
Right. You tell somebody to put, you're like, put down the Cheetos. Oh
I know.
God. How dare you?
I know. You know, so there was a situation at Kroger, and this was, I don't know, it's been a while back, but it was a girl and she was overweight. But she had a I've been vaccinated t-shirt on. She had rubber gloves on and a mask. And I just kind of happened to like look in her cart and it was just like full of junk food, you know? And that stuff is heartbreaking to me because I'm like, if you would just take a few steps to try to live a better, healthy lifestyle, you'd probably be in a much better place, you know, health-wise. And you wouldn't be nearly as concerned with this whole COVID issue. But
it's like people that want to lose weight and they're like, what's the pill that I can take? That's what the vaccine is. It's a pill. Whereas like all the other things that you can do are going to keep you much healthier than, you know, than this vaccine. I mean, I get it, Brooke. I'm the same way. If you, you know, if you have a compromised immune system or for, you know, you are over 75 years old, like I'm glad it's available 100%. Do we like, is my daughter going to get it? Hell no. You know, I don't know what this is going to do long-term. And the thing that bothers me is being labeled a conspiracy theorist because the information that is broadcasted to like on mainstream media is all from left perspective. So if we want to look for something that says anything otherwise, you do have to dig deeper and find some of the experts who are not being shut down for speaking about it, you know, to be able to hear all the information. That's how you make decisions about stuff. So if people are withholding information, how are you supposed to make an educated decision about things?
Right. Sorry, I'm just moving real quick. I'm like right in the middle of my gym and people are coming in. I'm like, oh my God, why did I choose this spot? Idiot. They're probably like, I don't want to be on this. Now I'm in the corner. I put myself in the corner. Oh my God, I'm in okay.
So do you guys, did you all have COVID? Did everybody have COVID?
I've had it twice.
I went and got like some blood work done and I didn't even realize that they were doing the antibodies test, you know, I had no idea. But then whenever I was looking at my blood work, it said that I had tested positive for the antibodies. So I guess at some point I did. And this was back in May, you know, whenever I had saw that, but I must've been asymptomatic. I don't know.
You never.
But in the same sense, I'm kind of like kind of torn, you know, I'm like, did I have COVID or am I just now another like statistic? I'm one of the numbers now.
I don't know. I don't think you can have the antibodies without having
COVID. Yeah.
Yeah. So you don't remember being sick at all?
No. Well, you look at like, so I never was sick ever, you know, but, I look back at it and you look at all these symptoms and it's like a headache, fatigue. And I'm like, that's me every day. I have symptoms of it every single day, you know, that's crazy. Everything's just so broad in general that I think a lot of things people could probably relate to on some sort of, you know, aspect, but no, I don't remember being abnormally sick ever, you know. In May, I was in, you know, prep at that point, you know, so I don't know, maybe I was like a little more tired at that point in prep and I just didn't realize it. I associated with prep. I have no idea. But regardless, it wasn't anything that was like awful, life-threatening, or felt so miserably sick that I couldn't function.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. So
yeah.
I survived.
We've done tests a couple of times because with Anna with school, if she tests positive, you know, she can't go to school or like the school needs to be alerted. And you know, a couple of times I was like, I almost never get sick and I never get a fever. I actually have like pretty low body temperature most of the time. So if I have a fever, it'll be like 90, like 98.6. That's high for me. But you know, we go get tested and we're like, they're like, you tested negative. And I'm just like, oh yeah, there are other illnesses out there still. Like,
Yeah.
not everything is.
But the flu no longer exists.
Oh, right.
It's gone.
Yeah. So
I have issues with getting tested for COVID because blood doesn't bother me, but like if I have a bloody nose, I'll freak out. Like I will lay down on the ground, I'll lose my mind. So the thought of like sticking anything in my nose terrifies me because I feel like I'll have a nosebleed. So I can't do it. I cannot do it. And I've heard all these like horror stories about, this COVID test. So that's all I can, sticking something up my nose.
Yeah, it's definitely uncomfortable, but I mean, when I went to go do, I guess the rapid tests are worse. They stick them up there higher for a longer period of time. Yeah. And this guy was like crying in front of me, and my ex-husband wanted me to get tested because he had to go to, they had like to do a praise team thing for church. Yeah. He was going to go like to church. So he's like, I need to know if I came into contact with you guys and you have it. So he's like, I'll pay for, your $100 for your rapid test. And I'm standing there and I was like, there's a guy crying right now. I'm like, you're paying me double for this because this is, but then it ended up not. I was like, oh, he was a wuss. Never mind. So, Brooke, I think your eyes water a little bit. And I think it kind of burned the one time I had COVID, but the other times it didn't. So it's kind of weird.
I did the test myself. I was like, oh, this is actually kind of nice. You know what it reminded me of? It reminded me of a pap smear, but like in my nose. You know what I mean? Like,
oh my God.
So I was playing doctor with myself and I was like, yeah. It was like relieving too. It felt so good.
Oh my gosh, I'd freak out.
COVID in my vagina. Let's check.
No, that thing's a steel trap, honey. Oh my God. Why? I swear, this is the kind of stuff we talk about in the gym, and I'm like, we're gonna get a hidden camera sometime and listen to all this horrible stuff that we talk about. I'm surprised we're still in business.
Pap smears are awful. They're like, it's like pinching you from the inside.
Oh, I hate that.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna feel a little poke. I'm like, you're gonna feel a little poke, dude. Like,
that is not accurate. A poke. Excuse me. No, not a
or pressure. Isn't that another
pressure.
word?
Yes.
Yeah.
A little pressure my ass. That is like traumatized.
Give me a glove, dude. You're gonna feel some pressure.
Thanks.
No, I love my OBGYN. He delivered my daughter. He's a good guy.
Was he good looking?
No.
Oh, rats.
He
I was
has.
gonna say that might make it easier. I feel like no.
He's got a great sense of humor. Yeah, he's really funny. So I can appreciate a sense of humor at least on the when you're spread eagle. You know what I mean? Like.
Do you know what I mean? Yes. Come here, right?
Spread eagle pooping out a baby. It's good to have somebody who can make jokes with you about stuff.
This is free birth control. Thank you.
I don't want to take too much time doing this, but I did want to say thanks to everybody who left reviews. They just freaking knocked it out of the park. And I did post them on the Women's Fittest Instagram page to say thank you. I kind of wanted to read them, but I also don't want to take all the time to read them because there were actually a lot. But we love you and we appreciate it so much because you actually brought the ratings up and just all the feels. So we say thank you for that, for sure. I was going to ask you guys the other day, I just laughed. I texted Anna. I looked like I walk into the living room. My bra is on the coffee table. Anna's bra is under the coffee table. And I'm like, do you guys like end of the day? Is it just like off.
No.
We apparently sit down on the couch and like do you remember like flash dance when she pulls the bra out from under her sweatshirt? Yeah. We're just like, boom, bra off.
Yeah.
I would say mine will end up on the ping pong table every once in a while. However, more than likely it's probably like on a doorknob to the bathroom.
Just hanging somewhere.
Yeah, because I'm like, I'm gonna wear it tomorrow. I'm gonna re-wear this for sure. I don't care if I've sweated in it, I'm still gonna wear it because yeah, I don't want to do laundry again.
Some of those things are like things I had to tell Anna. I was like, you don't have to wash your jeans every time you wear them. You don't have to wash a bra, a sports bra, maybe if you're sweating in it, but a bra every time you wear it. I'm like, these are the life lessons of being a woman.
Mm-hmm. True. It's hard. It's very hard sometimes.
Oh my word. I want to quick plug that I did an interview with Ifbb Protea Douglas, which is going to post later this week. And it was really, she was so open about, so she gains a lot of weight in her off season, and it's a huge struggle for her going back and forth, and struggles with binge eating disorder a lot. And you know, I've known her for a long time via Facebook. She's watched my daughter grow up. She's a beautiful person. And I think this interview is really, I just wanted to say kudos to her, because it was very brave to talk about something that, you know, going through this as a pro athlete while you're still struggling with something that is, you know, could keep you from doing this, but she keeps pushing through it and trying to get a grasp on everything. It was a very touching interview, and I'm excited for that to post. So I just wanted to plug that. Okay, Brooke sent me a bunch of questions. And I'm going to find them.
Some of them might be appropriate. I don't know, but
What'd you say?
I said some of them might be inappropriate. I just was like screenshotting and sending over.
Please read those first. Lily,
we already covered Kira swabbing her vagina, so we can.
Oh, wait a minute. Did it sound like I did it? No.
Just to be clear, she didn't swab her vagina.
Just to be clear, I let a professional do that. What professional that person's in, it doesn't matter. I'm open for business. No, Lily, stay. I'm talking to my dog to not move. Lily, stay here. I swear, I'm the worst.
You mean like this one, Brooke? I love you so much. Kisses, kisses, kisses. Thank you, fans. T 1990 R dot.
Too cute.
So great. Okay. Oh, I love this question. I'm new to women's physique training. I'm 36 years old. Am I too old?
Absolutely not.
No.
30s are like prime, aren't they?
No.
Prime? Yes. Yeah. And especially if you're, if you just started training, whenever you started training first is your prime. So it doesn't matter how old, like you could be 70 and have never trained before, you are going to make gains like wildfire. You know what I mean? So get it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like when I was, I think I was like 37 or something when I retired, and like, you know, so in my best that I ever looked, I was in my mid 30s, and I was up against Juliana, who was at the time reigning queen, of course, but like what, she's 40 something.
She's 47 now. She's 47. She won the last Olympia at 42.
Oh my God. Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Dang.
You know, I think a lot of people get confused though. And it's like, they're almost thinking backwards. Like, I'm not 18 years old anymore. Can I really build muscle like that? And I'm always telling people, gosh, truly, you're totally right here. When you say like mid 30s, you see girls, and that's when they really start to peak and hit their absolute prime. I'm 31, but I'm truly like just coming into my best physique now, you know? So like when I was in my 20s, it's not like I disliked my physique by any means, but the physique I had then compared to the physique that I have now is, oh my gosh.
Yeah. You can
So
see
it's so fun.
you can see the muscle maturity growing on you, on Brooke, when you look at pictures, even from, you know, just from in your late 20s. It's yeah. And I started when I was 34. So, you know, and ended up competing just before turning 38. Yeah. No, you're golden. Go for it, babe.
I guess.
You're never too old.
Damn right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And I'm kind of curious, like all these kids that are starting now, I mean, I love it. I love that, you know, we have the, you know, 18 years old and whatnot who are getting into it, but we don't know what those physiques are going to look like always, because we only have a few examples of people who started knowing that much when they were that young. I mean, you did start, you had a good start when you were 12.
Hey, it's so funny though. I'll share a funny story about this. So my sister, you know, earlier last year at the Optimum Classic, I got second place. And my sister's like, you know, trying to be positive. And she's like, you know what, though? You're getting older and you're still hanging in there with all these young girls. And I'm like, you do realize the girl that beat me is older than me. You know? Like, that doesn't mean anything.
Right. Right. Well, that's the beauty of this sport too. And, you know, doing it well, because like we all look younger than, I mean, not that Brooke, you're not really in that where people are like, you know, you just look awesome for your age. But, you know, I mean, I know people always tell me I look younger than my age. And Kira, I'm sure you get the same thing. It's like when you're healthy and you take care of yourself, like you're not gonna, it's like, the age thing it's not, you can't figure it out. It becomes a mystery.
Kind of fun.
Yes, absolutely. All right. So, you know, I wanted to talk about the breast implant thing. We were going to talk about, because Kira, you made a really good point about the things that people do for, you know, for bodybuilding or for themselves. So you guys think that it's necessary to have breast implants for bodybuilding or for a specific division?
I definitely don't think so. I don't think that there's anything wrong with having breast implants or going all natural. I just think that whatever route you choose to do it for yourself. Don't do it because of bodybuilding, because you're trying to get a better placement. And if for whatever reason you feel like you need a fuller chest, but you don't really want to go with implants, there's tons of different ways to use padding where it makes you look like you do have a good, you know, full boobage. I don't know what to say about that. I'm all for it, but I'm all for going all natural. I think it's just person dependent. And, you know, a lot of times you see people, and obviously when it comes to breast implants, at some point you'll have to have them redone. So if you're just doing it for bodybuilding, I would probably rethink that decision. But if you want them, go for it. But you don't have to have them in order to succeed. I think we see a lot of girls that are completely all natural and they are doing phenomenal. I mean, the best in the sport, you know, you'll see some that don't have implants.
Yeah. I agree. Brooke, I'm the same way. Like, I would never tell somebody, oh, you're not going to do well if you don't get them. And like you said, if you want to get them for you, get them for you. Don't get them because, oh, I want to do well in bodybuilding. You may not even, something could happen that you have to you can't even compete. Or especially if you've never even done a show, who knows if you'll even like it and like the process. So it's like, do it for you because you want to, not because you're expecting to look better and to place higher in a show. That's kind of, I mean, I'm get them if you want to get them. Yeah.
There's all these things to consider too about how many other stages of life you're going to go through. And I think a lot of the choices that people make with bodybuilding, they forget that this is only going to be, 20 years or so of your life that you're, or 10 years of competing, or 20, there's a time frame for it. And you don't want to get done and think like, oh, I want to have children, or think about nursing children, it could get in the way of that. Like, you always have to think about long term what this choice is going to be when you have to live it. And like you said, Brooke, it's going to be a commitment because you have to keep redoing them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. But I mean, I love them when they look great.
Oh, sure. I've seen girls rock them and they look awesome, but I truly just think, like, if I'll be honest, there was a time where I'm real like sporadic. So sometimes I do things, and I'm like, I'm just going to go get a consultation. And I went. And so this doctor has this like bra on me, and she's like putting these implants in, and she put 300 cc's in and took photos. I'm like, oh my gosh, no. And I still have the photos and I think they're hilarious, but I mean, it's not for me, and then there's that part of me, I looked ridiculous. I just don't feel like for me and my personality and who I am, it's like fitting to me. I think I would look a little silly with some big boobs, but I like the all natural for me. But God, I'm all for all sorts of things. I get Botox done all the time, so that's my like guilty pleasure. If it makes you feel better, do it.
Yeah, absolutely. I was gonna say something about that. I don't remember.
Itty bitty titties. What? No, itty bitty titty quitty, right? I was gonna say it. They were like, I told her, I was like, give me the smallest ones you got. And she was like, okay. And then she told me how much it was gonna be. And I was like, no. And that's what did it for me. Because I was like, I'll do it. I'm good for it. If it's this much, but it was gonna be like even more. And I was like, nope, I'm not that hard up for. Like, for me, I'm the same, Brooke. Like, I really don't think it would have looked good on me. No, not my thing.
I feel like when I was growing up, like as a teenager, I always thought, because I was small chested, and I thought, that's when you think like, oh, I really want to have boobs because I don't have them. And then by the time that I got pregnant and then I ended up with like double D's, I was like, I hate these. I hate them. They're heavy. It just was like, you touch them every time you move. They're like, oh, no. No, thank you. And it's like one of my favorite things about prep too, about just having like almost no.
Yes.
I don't know. I love that. I
love it too. I love it too. And then you're just like, oh, these are just like nipple flaps, really. You're like, I don't have a bra.
Yeah. You're like, I don't have to wear a bra, And I was like, hey, you guys did good for being working. Like. So great. Okay. How do y'all differ in terms of training? High volume, low volume, bro split, or push pull? So
I think that's all like person dependent too. I will be honest, I've done basically the same split for years, and it just works for me. I train kind of like your typical, I don't know, just muscle group. Mondays I'll do legs, Tuesdays I'll do back, Wednesdays I'll do chest, Thursdays I take off, and then I kind of just repeat that same sequence. Every once in a while, depending where I'm at, I might throw, like if I'm short for time, I might do like a shoulder arm day because I can get through that pretty quickly, so for the most part, I like to train legs twice a week. And here recently I've been training back twice a week just because my back is not my strongest. But
forced.
Not your strongest, let's be honest.
It's her only thing that I think they said they wanted her to bring up some thickness.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm working on it.
I have so much faith in you, Brooke. You're probably gonna do just fine with that. I mean, you've always improved. I mean, even now I look at you and I'm like, you look so good right now. And because like and for me, I would struggle with off season, but anyway, I'm the same way. Like when it comes to training, I do legs twice a week, usually when I was like consistent, but I just kind of go off of how I feel too. And I do high volume and low volume. I do a little bit of everything. I actually miss training when I was training like a powerlifter. I missed that because that was like, I mean, I only trained 3 days a week, but it was amazing. And it was like, I was dead tired every single time. I mean, it was awesome. And I like doing like plyometrics and different stuff like that. So nice. I feel like that's my ADD in me.
I love to kind of keep that same like athleticism too, kind of in your training. So you saying that you do like plyometrics. I love that kind of stuff, you know. I love strength training obviously as well, but I do enjoy like being well-rounded. And so I used to pride myself off of being able to like run fast and jump high, you know, not just being strong in general and looking strong, but you know, performance is huge for me too. So I always like to recommend that, throw those kind of things in there. But I kind of say like, I'm more like hybrid, like Kira was saying. I enjoy powerlifting so much. And obviously like powerlifting is kind of what got me into all of this. So I kind of like to keep that mentality whenever I train. So typically if I'm training legs, I'll go real heavy on my barbell squats, you know, and then after I finish my squats, I'll go for more volume training typically.
So I think over the last probably 2-3 years is when I have really found my stride with what I like doing. I tend to train, if I can, I try to do 2 days on, 1 day off, just because my job is really physical. And if I try to do 3 days in a row, then I'll end up taking like 2 days off because I'm too tired. But I do train more of a push-pull leg style, and the workouts are usually very much the way John Meadows sets up his workouts, where especially now that I'm, you know, in my 40s, I tend to do something that's more of an activation exercise first before I do my heavier compound, which I'll do, you know, 2 to 4 sets of a lower rep range. And then, you know, the rest of the stuff is a little bit probably higher, the 10 to 15 rep range. So, and then I do, like you said, I just started adding more like mobility stuff. So I usually add like one, either something mobility. I do this with my training programs with my clients as well. Do some sort of a mobility or ab exercise at the end of it that kind of ties in with whether it's like a, you know, a push workout or a leg workout or whatever. So and it just works. You find something that is pretty comfortable, and then you can make little tweaks to that. So I like it.
I think if anybody's asking for advice with it, I always tell people like, you have to find something that you like to do, because it doesn't matter like what your training program is. If you're just like going through the motions and you're just kind of like blah blah blah, whatever, A B C D, and not really like putting any effort into it, you're not going to get any results. But if you're doing something that you absolutely love, you're going to get results because you're going to put more effort into it. So I think no matter what kind of training you like to do, what's going to work for you is what you really, really enjoy.
Yeah.
I think
consistent. I was just going to say, you have to be consistent with it. It kind of goes with like what I said. If I do too much, then I end up taking days off, and then it's like, no, you're trying to do too much. You have to figure out what that balance is going to be for you to stay, you know, on course. Go.
Yeah, I think a lot of times everybody's looking for the right answer. Like, what is this fix that's going to make me look like this particular person? And everybody, I mean, people have so many different training splits and programs, and it doesn't mean that any of them have the right or wrong answer. That's what works for them. They could look amazing, and they might only be training like 3 days a week, you know, or maybe they're very leg dominant and they don't really train legs that often because they're trying to create that balance. I think it just really depends on the person, but kind of like you were saying, Kira, if you got to find something that you enjoy, because I could give somebody my exact split that I do every single week, and it might not work for them at all because they might just hate it. It might not be ideal for them. And if it's not ideal or realistic for them to follow, they're probably not going to be successful. So if they can only train like 4 days, 3 to 4 days a week, then they need to do something pick a program that's more ideal for them and their goals and their needs, and something that will keep them on track. But I personally, for me, I've never really done a push-pull split, but people do them all the time. And if that's what you want to do, heck yeah, go for it. So it just really depends on the person.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I used to train more like a body part style of training. And I think just because sometimes I am inconsistent because of things going on in my life or whatever, it's a lot easier to combine body parts, because then then it's not a week before I'm training legs again. You know what I mean? So if I was able to go to the gym more often, or if I made an effort to go to the gym more often, I guess I would say, then like I said, I don't have anything against that either. So you just have to figure out, like you guys were saying, what works for you. And it might not even be optimal, but if you're not able to adhere to it, then it's not going to work for you at all. So how do you manage social media, dealing with the inappropriate and negative comments?
I love this topic. This is my favorite. For me, like, I don't really get that much action anymore. I'm kind of like a washed up old news kind of now. No, but like when I would get stuff, like especially when I first started, like I think it was just MySpace was around, and so of course you still get those weird comments. So I would get like requests for things that I was like, it would just like make me giggle, and then you get hate too, and I'm like, at first I think it probably did bother me, and then after that it was just like too funny. I was like, this is a joke, right? Like, you gotta be kidding me. Like, oh, I'm sure. Ooh, good one. Like, really? Like dumb stuff that like people will try to put me down, and I'm like, you think I didn't see that already? Like, I don't know. It's just kind of, so how I dealt with it, and how I don't really get much now, but if I don't know. For me, I don't really do much about it. I just kind of laugh and move on. I just delete the comment and move on. I don't really ever address it because I don't really care.
It's funny to put it into perspective where you're like, I didn't even know who you were until you made a comment about me.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
so me responding is irrelevant to your comment, your comment to whatever you think about. Like, I don't care what you think about me any more than you care what I think about you.
Right.
I have like, to me, the whole thing on social media, it never really bothers me. I will get defensive if someone makes a comment about like a client or somebody that I care about, they make a remark in regards to their physique, I do get a little defensive. And maybe that's because you experience their journey. So I feel like I have to defend them. And I just think it's ridiculous too, that somebody, you must be so miserable with yourself that you have to go out of your way to try to ruin somebody else's day. When, okay, you could argue like maybe you don't want that kind of physique, and that's fine. And I can appreciate that, like that's totally okay that you don't want to look like me or look like somebody else with a lot of muscle. That's okay. But you have to understand that that's a lot of work. So just to kind of like try to put a damper on somebody's day because they're a little bit more muscular than you think is ideal is ridiculous, But I will tell you, I have had some like circumstances where like, okay, there's this really terrible Yelp review about 365 Fitness.
Girl, we got them too.
I know, right? And so one of the owners, there was a guy, and I have no idea who this guy is, and he was like bashing me on social media. I mean, it was brutal, and it was like harassing me, and I have no idea to this day who he was. I mean, it was everything like, you're on steroids and that's gross, you look like a man. And it was just constant. It was like any post, he would do it. Then he was sending me like direct messages, blowing me up, and I blocked the guy. Well, then we have one of the owners at 365 Fitness. He's like very defensive and he understands. And so he tells the guy that he's like, I will fucking kill you, basically. Like, shut the fuck up, Well, and he made the comment from our gym page, So like, you go to Yelp, you see that there's like this terrible review that says like, go fuck yourself, I'll kill you, or something like that, But he meant well. He was defending me, and it was because some creep was like losing his mind over me. But and then I do have a situation too where I was just like a bad week, like a really, really terrible week, you know, and I'm putting a case of waters in my trunk of my car, and this Buick, they roll down their window and somebody's like, you look like a man, and they drove off. And it happened so quick. It happened so quick, but so slow all at the same time. And I had this case of water, and I'm like, what do you do? Like, do you just put your case in your water and go home? And I was like, nope, I'm pissed off. So I threw my case of water in my trunk, slammed my trunk down, and I took off after him, you know, and I had no idea who's driving this vehicle. I'm like honking my horn at him. They pull over in this bank parking lot, and it was like on a Sunday night, you know, so the bank's obviously closed. And I have my keys in my hand like this, because I have no idea who's in this car. Like, this is kind of stupid that I was doing this, but I was so mad. And the girl in the passenger seat, she rolls down the window and she's like, she did not mean it. And I was like, roll down the window. And they were young kids, you know, and I mean, I terrified them for sure, but in the same sense. And I was like, what if I was crazy and I had a gun? You know what I mean? And the girls obviously were understanding at that point, but social media is one thing, and I will kind of pretty much ignore that. But if you do say something to me in passing in public and I hear it, I will 100% put you in your place. It's just rude. If you say something stupid to me, expect like a remark in return. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Which, Brooke, I'm the same way. Like, I think I try to be more, because I'm older and I have a child. So I try to, you know, be more professional about things, but in past, I have lost my shit on people who are rude to me in person, because that's exactly what it is. Social media is one thing. Like, to answer this girl's question, you know, I'll delete a comment, I'll block a person. I usually don't respond anymore, because I think they're like babies throwing a hissy fit. They want some attention. And so I'm not going to give it to them. I just, cause like, I'm a smart ass. I usually have a good comeback, and I'm like, nope, they just want attention, regardless of how freaking funny I'm going to be right now. You know, like, I'm not going to do it, you know, but in real life, I will not be disrespected to my face. Absolutely. Absolutely not, you know? So I'm with you.
Funny that people say stuff to the bigger girls. I'm like, are you fucking nuts? Like, it's not going to take much for me to just knock you off your fucking socks. Okay. And I, you know, and like Tiffany too, she probably gets some shit, and I don't know why, but she gets a lot. And I'm always the one to be like, calm down. It's okay. They're jealous, whatever, you know? And it's true. Most of the time I think people are just jealous, or you're just like, why were you driving by and saying I look like a man? What happened to you today that you felt like you could do that, you know? Or I'll say something smart as like, I'm going to pray for you. Jesus will heal you. Okay. You know, like, I'm a smart ass too. And so I try to just like, I'll come back with something like that, or half the time I'm just like, I'm going to give you the time of day. You ain't worth it. You know? That comes with just time too.
I love that. There was this guy, and he had messaged me or said something stupid, I don't know, on social media. So I go and I look at his Instagram profile, and it says something about just Christianity, and you know, and I did respond to him. I'm like, judging by your profile, it looks like you're very Christian. Judge me. And then he actually commented and he said, you know what, you're right, I apologize. So, but I think on social media, if social media is so different, because I'm going to say it's not real. You can be whoever you want to be on social media. So you can, like, people that are living really miserable lives, they can be a keyboard warrior, and they can try to put every person down. So in all honesty, I kind of feel bad for them, but it kind of makes me feel like, okay, well, I'm obviously doing something that I should be, because, you know, you're going to get like criticism, you're going to get praise and criticism. So I'm like, well, I'm on my way, because I can't please everybody. So if somebody's saying that I look gross or manly, whatever the case is, I'm like, that's progress. I'm getting better.
Yeah.
with with the last interview that I did with Autumn Cleveland, we were talking about this too, how about the trolls on social media. And I just find it, we were saying what is hilarious is that people have like a specific type of woman they like, and they just think everybody should look like that type of person. And we were just like, what a crazy world if everybody looked exactly the same. You know, even if it was all like, you know, like you love supermodels, so everybody looked like a supermodel, still would end up being a really boring world. You know what I mean? So I just think there's a lot of beauty in individuality and allowing people to be whatever they want to be. And you're really, really freaking ignorant if you think that anything you say is going to have any type of impact on the direction that somebody is trying to make their life go. Like, oh my gosh, I guess I'll stop bodybuilding because this guy who's, you know, home alone in his basement and has never had a date in his life doesn't find me attractive. You know, like, it's just, somebody made a comment on Sunny Andrews' page one time, and then some girl replied, because he was like, you're a bit too masculine for me. And she was like, there's a difference between masculine and muscle. Like, that's, you know, like that doesn't even make sense. And then somebody was like, she's way out of your league anyways. And he was like, I know. And I said, yeah. And so I commented, I was like, can you imagine? I go, like, he would say no if she asked him out. Like, he wouldn't reject her. Are you kidding me? Like, yeah.
That's
You know, I do think it's important to tell people though, because I think that there are some women that do struggle. So like if a man or a woman does put them down and they tell them that they're gross or they're too muscular, whatever the case is, I think it's important to tell that individual, don't allow somebody's thought or opinion of you and how you look deter you from doing what you want to do. You know, so if you want to be a female bodybuilder, you want to be the next Miss Olympia, go for it. Yeah. Don't let somebody put you down, because chances are they're just insecure themselves, you know, and it makes them feel better to put others down.
Yeah. You know, on that note, I was going to say, I've had women too who are like, they're not there yet, but they'll be like, my husband or my boyfriend doesn't like what this looks like. And I'm like, why don't you just see if you can get there first before you worry about getting too big or too muscular, you know? So do what you love to do, follow that path. And, you know, whatever you do in life, people are going to fall away anyways. You know what I mean? You'll find your people, you'll lose friends. That's just how things are in life. You know, you have to live your own life though. And some stupid comment on social media, I mean, it triggers me. It does. It gets me irritated, and I have to contemplate for a minute if I'm going to respond or not. Like, I'm human. So, but then you just delete it. Maybe I'll complain. I'll be like, Anna, look what this ass hat just said to me. And then and then I move on. So
this guy has a small dick. We know that, okay? Or one at all, you know? I mean, you gotta remember that. Thank you for your opinion. However, fuck you. That's what
this is so funny.
It's never gonna end too. But.
No, it won't. But you know what? I do think social media isn't as bad as it was like in 2013 when I started my Instagram, because all of a sudden people were like, oh my gosh, there's all these fitness girls, and it was obscure. It was like, you didn't see that. And then as it became more normal, and I think we found each other as a group, it's like, you know, you come across these people all the time on your explore page or whatever. I think probably whether you follow them or not, and it's more normal. It's been more normalized. I personally, I mean, I'm not like contest prep lean anymore either. So, but I don't get the comments that I used to get. So I don't know.
I think they're kind of fun. I do miss getting comments, you know? That's why I'm trying to revive my Instagram. I'm hoping to get some more hate. I'm like, dang, that was fun. It was more entertaining.
That's right. Shakira finally has a new Instagram.
brought it back.
Don't call it a comeback, Kira.
I went ahead and changed it today. I was like, all right, it's time to go back and go ahead and change it. I put my name on it, but.
Oh, you did?
Yep. I'll have more smart ass things to say. Don't worry.
What if you miss the trolls? I mean, I can create a fake account and just hit you up every day.
I will send money if you do, because I am seriously entertained by it. I will pay you to troll me. I mean, what do I gotta do? I just want to be important again. I'm nobody.
There you go. Everybody knows
I'm
now.
a Washington.
Hit Kira with your best.
I welcome it. Bring it on, bitches.
So I feel like this comment or this question is like just somebody trolling to find out if you're single or not, Brooke. But
Ooh, girl.
how does your training affect you keeping a stable relationship?
No, I am single, but I think, you know, you see a lot of people have healthy relationships in the industry, and then you see the opposite. You see people that really might have a toxic relationship within the bodybuilding community. But I think it's very, very important to set boundaries with your relationship. And I think what happens, or what I've noticed for people to have issues, is, you know, bodybuilding is a very selfish sport. It truly is. It is a full-time job. And in the past, that's something that I've struggled with, because I have to completely be focused on myself. But when you're in a relationship with somebody, you have to make sure that you cater to them as well. So don't just leave them on the back burner because you're so consumed with yourself and what you're doing. You know, you have to remember that competing or choosing this lifestyle is a choice. So you don't want to leave the people that love you. You don't want to leave them behind. So you want to make sure that you're tending to them, their wants and their needs as well. And obviously communicate with them. I think that's huge. I think obviously social media is a huge issue. Be faithful to them, you know, and just communicate with one another. And I also think from the other end of the spectrum, I think that there are some men that I've seen, luckily I've never had this like experience, but you do see it, unfortunately, where, you know, they can be very controlling towards women. And I think they can hold them back, you know? So I think you got to set boundaries for one another and communicate with one another and love one another, you know, be supportive. It's very important to have that support on both ends, right? So I think you can have a successful relationship in the sport, yes.
I think that some of the biggest problems come with the evolution of a person, because you think you knew what you were getting into. Somebody gets involved in the sport and now you don't have the attached at the hip relationship maybe that you had before. You know, I can say this even with my marriage. I think I got married before I kind of knew who I was, and I am very independent. Like I just don't need anybody. I can go forever without communicating with people or reaching out to people. Like I love it, and I love, you know, I love doing the podcast and I love doing the interviews, but like I think I saw a meme one time that says I want to be with someone who it was something like who leaves me alone like most of the time. Like I just
That's true. Yeah.
I don't like spending that much time with probably anybody except like my daughter. And even now she's like more independent, doing stuff with her friends and working more. And I'm like, oh, it's kind of nice to just be like,
So, you know, it's funny. So anytime I'm like a crazy sleeper, you know, and so I'm always like, I don't even know if I could ever share the bed with somebody ever again.
Starfish, right? Like I love.
Brooke, I'm just imagining you like having narcolepsy. All of a sudden you're just like out cold. Like you just barely close your eyes and you're like,
oh my God. Anyway, I could get on the ground right here and fall asleep just like that.
Anna will come into my room. She's
Love
like,
it.
your alarm has been going off for 30 minutes. I'm like, I just sleep through anything. I sleep through anything. Yeah. Tired. Life is hard, you know?
I feel you.
It's exhausting. So what we got out of that was Brooke is single. and ready to mingle.
Her number is 822. Hey, Brooke, give them your pager number. Do you have a pager?
Oh yeah.
You probably, Brooke, are you too?
8675309.
It's really fun.
Oh God.
I just would like Clay, the fireman, to call me.
Okay.
I didn't think I didn't think I really wanted a relationship. But I mean, firefighters are so busy all the time, like dinner once a week. Let's do it.
They're 24 on, honey.
Yes.
Sometimes 48, you know. Depends. Wear his uniform. I'd ask him if you can try out I don't know if they have horns. Just ask him if you can try it out. Just get on the ladder or something. Can I get a ride, Daddy?
I gotta go figure out who what's really funny? It's like it was his demeanor that was so attractive. Like he was so kind and patient. Like he had a mask on. I don't honestly really even know what that guy looked like, which, will tell you something about will tell you something about how, guys are. I'm not saying that looks aren't important to me, but there's so many qualities that they'll make someone more physically attractive when they have those other qualities. So, plus I think really, really good looking guys are often douchebags, and I'm not.
Yeah.
No one likes a bag.
Would you say nobody wants a douchebag?
Yeah.
No, thank you. Let's see here. What is next? I love you. So, oh wait, we already did that one. Sorry.
Do it again.
Off-season fluff, how to become comfortable with it. First timer here, getting used to a new shape.
Yeah. How do you get used to it?
Don't get too fluffy.
Honestly, there's no magic answer for this. I feel like you just have to take it day by day, and it's really, really, it is hard. Because you're in that, we talked about last time, you're in that kind of like limbo state where you're like, okay, yeah, I don't have anything immediate that I have to do or set goals for. So it's easier to relax a little bit more. I think reminding yourself of that is important, but also trying to keep yourself busy. So, I mean, for me, I would just use that time to train harder and look at it that way. And that's kind of how I would battle that self-image of like being fluffier. But no, it's definitely not easy. And do yourself a favor and buy some stretchy pants. Don't beat yourself up like you can't fit into something. You know what I mean? Because like we all try to like get into those clothes, and it's like it's not happening. I mean because your pants won't button. Like, don't do that to yourself. Set yourself up for success. Get some stretchy pants. Yes, and love yourself.
Don't you
adopt a dog? That will help you.
Well, when you sign up for this sport, and especially if you're going through the extremes of trying to build and cut, you are never comfortable. There's never a time. So it's like, if you want this to be a lifestyle and you're not competing, then you're going to go to the gym and train, and you're going to be mostly on point. It's kind of where I think I am like with my life. But if you are actively trying to build muscle and then actively trying to compete, you're not gonna, it's like, you don't even get used to something, because you're not gonna always look like this and you're not gonna always look like that. So that's just part of what you signed up for.
Yeah, I think everybody at the end of the day, it's like we're all just trying to figure out how to love ourselves, and I think we all struggle with it. I mean, I struggle with my rebound every year, like I'm used to it by this point. So like I know how to address the certain phases that I go through, because I'm like, oh, I did this the last time and the year before that. You know what I mean? So I understand what I'm going through, I guess, a little bit more better now, but it's still embracing that fluff can be a struggle, but I think you got to love yourself in all phases. And I think you have to hold yourself accountable too, because if you're doing this from a competitive standpoint, you got to understand that you shouldn't be packing on tons and tons of weight, post show. So like, if that is what you are doing, hold yourself accountable. It's one thing to kind of like soften up a bit, but the more weight that you gain, the harder it's going to be to come off, you know, then you do kind of put yourself in some issues with your metabolism and kind of damaging some things. So be realistic, be honest with yourself, hold yourself accountable. So if you're up a little bit, that's one thing, enjoy yourself. But if you are getting out of control, you got to kind of face that as well.
If it's not muscle that you're putting on, obviously it's going to have to come off again. So there's always that balance of, you know, how much do you gain? How quickly do you gain it? And that's 100% it. If you are, you know, too fluffy, you probably should just go into a cutting phase. And if you have to do a cutting phase when you're doing your bulk, you just remember that this is time that you're taking away from growing. And it's also not benefiting you with your prep either. So there is a precision to it, or you're going to be backtracking, trying to undo your mistakes. And it's just, you know, that I think that happens over time as well, because you're learning when you're first starting about what's too much in one way or another. And then when you get to, you know, like where Brooke is now, it's a lot easier to understand, like, okay, this is what I need to do to grow. I'm not going to add too much body fat because I know I'm planning on a 16 to 20 week prep, and I have to be able to get the body fat off in that amount of time. So yeah, there's definitely practicality to it all.
I agree. And I think whenever you're going into an off season, I actually just had this conversation this week with somebody. You know, the foods that I eat, I'm eating the exact same foods that I eat whenever I'm like prepping for a show. It's just the portions, you know, I'm obviously eating more now. And I think sometimes, and I obviously do have cheat meals, and there's a little bit more like freedom, I guess, when I'm in my off season, but I'm still focusing on a goal. So if you still have a goal, you can't just come off of a show and you're just like free for all. You can eat anything that you want. You don't have to train. So get yourself a plan. If you don't have a coach, maybe hire a coach, you know, to help. If you can't keep yourself accountable, which I completely understand, you know, find somebody that can keep you accountable, somebody that's going to kind of help you during that process, because that's completely normal. Everybody struggles with that. And a coach is going to be there to guide you and help you through that process. So there's nothing wrong with hiring somebody to help you.
Yeah, absolutely. I was going to ask you guys, are you guys drinkers at all? Do you drink alcohol?
I kind of
do. I mean, I have several reasons why I don't, but I used to, but then yeah, like I was a cigarette smoker for 20 plus years, even into contest prep, because yeah, I mean, like I said, it helps with dieting. That's terrible. I don't recommend it. But no, and so if I were to drink now, I'd probably go back to smoking, because it's kind of like one of those social things that go hand in hand for me anyway. And like, so yeah, I don't drink anymore, but I mean, I think I had like a couple drinks on my 40th, but it gives me indigestion. As you get older, like shit does not work anymore. Like one drink and I'm like out of it. And so no, I don't anymore.
Brooke, you so hard. Why?
So I do enjoy drinking from time to time. So I'm not like an alcoholic by any means. Let me tell people that I do not drink often, but like I say, I'm a quarterly drinker, you know? So like I'll drink for special occasions, things like that. But I like the bad stuff that I shouldn't be drinking, like margaritas and pina coladas, all the frozen stuff.
Yeah.
I do enjoy that. But I'll tell you, and I love a frozen margarita. Oh, I do. I love it. But tequila gives me like the worst indigestion ever. It's like, what drink? Like, okay, there it is. This is great.
Oh yeah. It's just like tequila is like an instant like gag reflex for me. I'm like, yeah. I mean, I can tell you, when I was in college, I had a DUI. So it's like that's also part of the reasons that I don't drink, because I'd rather be able to like, you know, get people around and stuff. And honestly, I'm always too fucking tired on the weekends. So even want to do much of anything. So, I mean, I'm not going to like sit at home. Yeah. You know, and like, I don't know. So for me, you know, but I mean, yeah, I'm life of the party without alcohol. I'm nuts with just sober. So
you don't need
it's crazy. I don't need it.
You broke up a little bit, but you said you're the life of the party without it. That's hilarious.
Yeah. Yep. Hate to brag, but no. Yeah. What about you, Miss D?
I don't drink. But it's more like, I mean, I drank enough in my younger years, probably for my whole life. I had one time for the one day that I was on a dating app. You know, it has all this stuff that says like, are you a drinker or whatever, or social drinker. And I was like, I wrote that I wasn't a drinker. And some guy messaged me and he was like, oh, are you sober too? And I was like, okay, I'm not an alcoholic and I don't want to date a recovering alcoholic either. So I just don't, for me, it was always like, I was taking care of Anna and it was always like, if something happens, I want to be able to have to drive her to the hospital or something. It just wasn't worth the risk to me. Yeah. So, and then I always was like, I don't know if I'm going to train the next day. And I just always feel like regardless felt like shit to train. Like it just doesn't make you feel, if you feel good when you're drinking, but not the next day. So I was a big, like Jack Daniels, like the hard stuff. Like I was like shots and cigarettes. That was.
Oh my God. This is so amazing. Who are you?
I'm a mom.
I like cutting lumber, you know, I like that and having a few beers. You're like Rip from Yellowstone. Kidding.
I do like a good beer, like a good, like a Two Hearted or like a good, I can't even think of what the word is. They're craft beer. Like like a good craft beer. Yeah. I think they're delicious. And, but Kira, the same thing with you. You guys, it's really funny because I told you before we started what a stressful week we had. And I said to Anna, I just want to drink. Like, I just am feeling like I want to drink. And when I was we have a D&W up the street, because the last couple of days I had been in there and I found myself like, I'm not a wine drinker, but I was perusing the wine. And I was like, I saw this blueberry wine and it just looked so yummy. I thought and then when I went back, I bought it and I was like, I held it and I go, I don't need this right now, but if I need it, here it is.
Yep. That's the emergency stock.
But yeah, I thought I don't want to. And then I said to her, I don't want to get into the habit of being like a nightly wine drinker. That's like not me at all. So plus, I have had weird reactions to like, there's histamine in wines and I'm so allergic to everything. So fear always makes me not do stuff. Like what? So yeah, like I don't have any problems with it at all. I just don't like how it makes me feel afterward. Yeah, I don't know. But Brooke, Miss Margarita.
Love it.
That's funny. I used to get frozen daiquiris, like virgin ones, all the time when we'd go out to dinner.
Love them. I mean, like I know we had talked a little bit last week about what you would recommend for people to drink, you know, and now I will, like, if I'm really trying to be mindful, I'll drink like a vodka club soda with lime. But typically, if I'm going to have a drink, I'm like indulging and I want something that's frozen and with a lot of sugar.
They're so pretty too.
Yeah.
Like they
are. And I love coconut. So like a pina colada. Oh, so good.
Yeah. Coconut is the ultimate where you get either people are like, or you get people who are like, what do you poison me?
They love it or they hate it. Yeah. I love it.
I love it. I love it too. This is how have you built your stunning delts?
You know,
Brooke, what's your secret?
Anytime I train shoulders, I just do a ton of side laterals, dumbbell or barbell shoulder press, and that's about the gist of it. I will contribute, like I'm a big bench presser. So my bench press is probably my best lift. And I think I favor chest a lot. So I think I've gotten a lot of secondary work from chest as well. So I think my shoulders, because my pecs are so strong.
I think that has a lot to do. I think your background with starting with powerlifting and everything, all that pressing.
Yes.
Women well, I know a lot of women, especially for I write programs for them, they want a shoulder dominant, especially if you alternate one of your push workouts being chest dominant and one being shoulder dominant, but they, really want to have shoulders. And it's you get that front delt from the pressing motion of the chest exercises. So yeah, don't skip on it. I don't know.
A lot of women, they kind of do that's a really good valid point. I think a lot of women do kind of neglect chest, and you don't have to do the extent of something that I do on chest. I just love chest, and it's probably because that's, like I said, it's my strongest feature. It's just fun for me to be able to lift as heavy as I possibly can on chest. So you don't have to take it to that extreme by any means, but I also think a little bit goes a long way. So if you're going to train, you want to throw in a little bit of chest as well. Just like you said, Deb, you get a lot of front delt work on those pressing movements. So it is important.
You're going to get way more out of a pressing motion than you are out of I don't even have people do front raises. It's just worthless.
That's always one that I've done. I mean, I still do it, but I'm I never really feel like I get anything from it, anytime I've done it, I'm man, the only certain, maybe if I'm doing cables or something, I'll feel it. But other than that, I'm damn, this is the most worthless movement, I feel like.
Yeah.
So that's a good point, I think.
Sometimes at the end of a push workout, I've done a cluster set where you do 3 exercises, and I will do a 25-pound plate front raise that way. I do along with the rotating through 3 other exercises. So you're kind of getting it, but that's the most, I think I stopped doing dumbbell front raises a long time ago, especially after I tore my rotator cuff. That's when I had pain. And then when I had it fixed, it was the more I followed, people that kind of more analyze exercises, it's just why do an exercise that is basically wasting your time when you can get so much more out of, going into the hammer strength, incline chest press or overhead press and doing that instead. So I think exercise selection is really important because people do things because they think they should, all the kickbacks and crap people do for their legs when it's you could be doing some heavier compound stuff, getting way more out of this than tons of low weight, high volume.
Doing hip thrusts.
I think a lot of times too, when it comes to shoulders, is you see people lifting way too heavy on movements like a side lateral raise. I see people, oh my gosh, it's they're using their entire body, to get those dumbbells up. A side lateral is a pretty basic movement. A little bit of weight goes a long ways. And I just think we could all be a little bit more developed if we would just lift properly, efficiently, and obviously challenge yourself. But if you're doing, I know we've kind of talked about your full body workouts. If you're doing a full body workout for your side lateral, you probably should not be lifting that way.
Yeah. I like to get a lot of more high volume, not from the compound movement, but the others where you're getting more of a burn. Look at you look at Dana Lynn Bailey, who is known for her shoulders. Her shoulder workouts it's high reps. It's lots of reps. And, John Meadows does that a lot with his shoulder. I actually just looked at one the other day. I was like, ooh, this is a good shoulder workout. I'm gonna, yes, I did. I wrote it down. It was a YouTube video with Seth Shaw that he did. And I was like, this is a great, all angles. A little bit lower reps, reps of 8 for 4 sets they were doing dumbbell banded presses. And then the other stuff was reps of 15 to 20 for the other angles. So shoulders are a little bit different, I think, than the other shoulders and arms. You can go for, you have to target the muscle with a lower weight or you're going to.
And I think that's one that you have to be really careful. Though it seems like people are always getting their shoulders injured. And if you injure your shoulder or have any kind of pain, it'll affect everything. So I know, like, for me, and when I train people too, I'm like, that is just a movement. You 50 reps or something. You don't need to do anything heavy on like lateral raises. Overhead presses are a little different. You've got a lot more recruitment in that. But it's like, people, yeah, I see people like throw their bodies into it. And I'm like, oh God, what are you doing? Oh, it's like a back bend.
The worst is when you have like the cables. Sometimes I can't do cables depending where I am because the weight doesn't go low enough. And you're like doing 5 reps and you're just like, okay, I'm weak sauce. But you have to recognize that it's not worth doing because you're like, your body goes and then your arm goes. And it's like so dumb. Oh my word. Well, now we know how Brooke got her stunning.
I know.
Her pumpkin delts. Look at her. She's like not even really flexing, but is. She's like, oh, what, these?
I know.
Give it to him. Give it to him.
These little things. Let's see. I know there was something else on here that we didn't touch on. Oh, you know what, you guys, I was going to tell you, did you guys see Renee Jewett's new haircut?
Who's?
Her, yeah.
Yes. I just want to say that because Brooke, you have like, did you just cut your hair too or no?
No, I washed it.
That's why I was like, oh God. Looks good because I washed it. Wait, who are you talking about? Cut their hair?
Renee Jewett. She got like this little bob.
Oh, I see that. She's gorgeous.
Oh yeah. She looks like a little like stacked, but 1920s, like little pinup. Right? She just looks so, she looks so great. Yeah. She's like in her off season and just loving it. So built like a little Coke bottle.
Love it.
Wellness better. But I was going to ask you, have you ever thought about like cutting your hair or about growing your hair, or because I love the short hair and I really think I want to cut my hair now.
I love it. Now I used to have long hair.
Yeah.
I mean, my hair's like crazy thick, and I used to have long hair and it was like down to my tailbone. And I literally did like a Britney Spears moment where I like took it around my hair and just snipped it off. Yeah. I just couldn't handle it anymore. I was like, this is too much. And that's why I struggle with it so much still. Like, I love my hair, but gosh, whenever I blow dry it, I'm like, oh, my arms are so tired. So I usually will sit on the ground and I'm like this.
I was going to say, you look like you have really, really thick hair, which is like awesome. I mean, I have really thick hair too. And I feel so grateful for it because, over the years of dieting and stuff, I'm like, my hair is still really healthy and I still have a lot of it. And even when I had a shaved head, like it didn't even look like I had a shaved head because I had so much hair. I remember girls asking me if I had extensions in because it was so long at one point. I was like, no, it's my hair. So I mean, it's super cute. I love it. It's a good look on you.
Yeah.
Some people look good with short hair and then some people are like, oh, that's not good.
I don't think I'm quite at that. Like, I had a really stressful week, maybe one more stressful week. And then I just will just.
Next week, you'll be bald. You're going to Sinead O'Connor this week.
I'll be on Instagram Live doing a buzz right down the middle. Like,
would you though? That's a good one. You want those ratings, don't you? Let's go. Let's do it.
Goes viral. Oh, she's lost her mind. Great.
I'll tune in.
My word. Okay, this is a great question, actually. Great protein options when being vegan, other than tofu and how do you pronounce that? Tempeh?
Tempeh.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great question that I don't have an answer to because I always tell people when they choose to be vegan, like I had a client once, I was like, I am going to really struggle with this because I'm not I don't know how to make the best diet for you because it's really hard. Like vegetarian is great. Like you can still have eggs and dairy. Like I could do that, no problem. But so Brooke, thoughts on that? I was gonna ask you guys because I was like, what is something that people don't know about you? And I was thinking, I bet most people don't know that Brooke is vegetarian.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not vegan, but I'll still do eggs, but and that's just been a decision. Gosh, I'm trying to think. I mean, it's been like 15 years or something, so, and it was never that I disliked meat or did it for health purposes. I'm just an animal person. You just want the honest truth. Like I really struggle with animals, and so just the thought of it bothers me. And I'm not like that person that's going to preach like stop killing animals. If you're going to eat meat, I'm never going to, tell somebody to stop eating meat, but I just choose not to. But I eat tofu every single day. And I know they specifically said besides tofu, but seitan is something that I eat as well. And I like seitan a little bit more than I like tofu, just because it kind of is more, if you're a texture person, some people will struggle with tofu. It can kind of be a little bit spongy. Well, seitan to me is a little bit more of like a meatier texture. So I like that a lot. A lot of people like that, like monk fruit or jackfruit. I've never used that. So I'm not telling you that it's like a great option, but I have heard people using it for like pulled pork, substitutions, but I never have used it, but it's very, very popular. I've seen it on restaurants' menus frequently. And every time I go to Kroger, I'm like half tempted to get that like big old jackfruit. They look crazy. They're the oddest looking things I've ever seen, but.
And protein or something?
Yeah, it's
okay.
But it's like it's a fruit, but it's got like a meaty texture,
Okay.
So a lot of people use it. But obviously there's a lot of like vegans too that will use like beans as well. That's always a good option for some protein, but vegan protein powders are popular, and there's some of them are god awful and I don't recommend them, and then some of them are not that bad actually. I was surprised, so I'm with Granite and they have all these like protein flavors, well, I can have any of them because they're all like beef protein blends, and they finally came out with like a vegan protein powder that I actually really, really like, which is surprising because I've tried so many vegan proteins and they're all not that great.
I like that. It's like Vega, you can get it like pretty much anywhere, and it's like chocolate flavor. I don't know. Oh, I think that's the fruit. It's really good to me.
Good.
I think it's like a pea protein. I don't even remember.
Yeah.
It's good.
Yeah, Vega.
Yeah,
I honestly thought that tasted like crab.
I liked it because it's like thick, like
I don't.
like thin protein powders. I don't know.
This is freaking sludge.
I love a thick protein shake though. I love that.
Yeah, I don't like the thin stuff. I'm like, why am I drinking this? It just leaves me wanting more. Pointless. And now I know how to say seitan. I've been always saying it like seitan. I'm like, it sounds like Satan, but now I know how to say seitan.
Seitan. But I like your version better, like Satan.
I know. I keep saying Satan, kind of.
Would you like 4 ounces of Satan? Here you go.
Here, have Satan. Just eat Satan.
I would add to your mix. Quinoa is a good, high protein vegetable. That would be a good one. It's really tough though. Kudos to you for to this.
That is awesome.
Yeah, I have never found a vegan protein that I was like, oh, this isn't just like peas and sludge.
Tastes like peas and dirt. That's great.
Wait, what did you say?
I said it tastes like peas and dirt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like this definitely came from the ground.
Yes. Yeah. Like, this is the earth. I am drinking.
Yes. But hey, I'll tell you, so I'm obsessed with my air fryer. So I always tell people I love tofu in the air fryer.
That's why her hair is so short. She's like drying it in the air dryer. Turned it off.
Oh God, I'm sitting on a ball and I just fell.
So you put your tofu and stuff in the air fryer. Is that what you were gonna say?
Yes, I literally cook everything in the air fryer. Everything.
What is the brand? What one do you have?
Mine's the Oster brand.
Okay.
I think that's what I have. It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Interesting. I've been thinking about getting one, but I don't know.
Have one. Who are you? Again, who are you?
You have like 2022.
Yeah, exactly. It's 2022. You're a fitness babe. Like every fitness babe has a freaking hair dryer, air fryer.
Air dryer.
Like,
I was gonna add have you the textured I used to eat textured vegetable protein sometimes too. I don't know if you've ever gotten that. It's like it's dry. It kind of looks like grape nuts when you get it, and you just hydrate it, and it's basically like kind of like having ground beef.
Really? I've never had that.
Yeah, it's super duper cheap too. It's just soy, and it's the same as it's a soy product. So yeah, I used to get it at the health food store all the time, just it's very inexpensive.
I'll have to try that.
Yeah. I don't know, mix it with some
will not.
Some GQ's
quinoa.
Yeah, with some quinoa and some GQ's barbecue, and then you can be a hillbilly. I don't know, that's what that sounds like. Like take it to a potluck. Oh, so great. Let's see, what else were we going to talk about? Is there anything else that you get? What is something about yourselves that other people don't know about you? Well, we've spilled all of Brooke's secrets, so.
And I'm like, what other secrets do I have?
She's single and she cuts her hair with the air fryer, and she's vegetarian.
And she'll only chase you down if you say something mean to her.
Yes.
So that's one way of getting her attention.
Oh, there you go.
You are gonna get some antagonist now who's gonna be like, I'm gonna try to set this girl off.
I hate getting my blood pressure done. I have issues with pulses, so anytime they put that like sleeve on my arm, I freak out. I mean, it's crazy. I really have to like calm myself down and breathe anytime I get my blood pressure done.
Yeah.
I don't like the squeezing because that freaks me out, because I'm like, I feel trapped. I don't like that trapped feeling.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say
with
that.
What?
With the blood pressure cuff, like you feel trapped.
I actually like the pressure. I'm the only freak here that's like, I don't mind the nose, getting COVID tested. I don't mind.
Do you love the COVID test?
I love the COVID test. Yes. Absolutely.
Kira's like, just beat me up.
I'm ready.
Have you ever been in a fight before, Kira?
Oh yeah. I say, oh yeah, like,
oh yeah.
Of course. Duh. 4th grade, and then because somebody was messing with my best friend, and then oh yeah, I hit some stupid older woman who she hit Tiffany. Now Tiffany does not need help. Trust me. That's why she hit Tiffany. That's like hitting Satan, basically. You're about to die.
You mean fist hit her, not like with a car?
Yes. Yeah, some stupid broad. And I jumped over Tiffany, and I hit my reaction was like that. I was like, oh, hell no. And I jumped over Tiffany and like hit this woman in the face. And I was like, oh my God. That's so not like me, but like, yeah, if you knew Tiffany, like she's not somebody who needs backup. You need backup for her. Like she's just not somebody people typically mess with.
I would not want to mess with her.
Yeah,
definitely.
I think you've had conversations with her.
Yeah.
she'll do anything for you, but yeah, like she is definitely Team Tough Nuts for sure.
I love
Ooh, that would be a great t-shirt. Team Tough Nuts.
Yes.
I know. That is a good one. Team No Nuts. No.
I was gonna get us all t-shirts that said healthy looks different on everybody, but Team Tough Nuts, really. Let's vote.
That could be good.
We could always include that too. There's so many options.
Right. Which one would you guys like? I can order either. Oh my word. Would you rather your showers for the rest of your life be like borderline cold or only be able to sleep never more than, what would make it difficult? 6.5 hours in a row?
Oh.
I will take sleep for 6.5 because I usually that's what I get anyway. So I'll take that. I won't cold showers. No.
Yeah. I'm all about my sleep, but I cannot have a cold. I can't do it.
When Anna showers, first of all, she usually forgets to turn the fan on, and I walk in there and it's like the devil is taking a shower. It's so
Not a morning person.
she is so scalding hot. It's like,
Oh my God.
yeah, so funny. But I was like, dude, your showers are so hot. You know,
Mhm.
in there like 20 minutes. I'm just like shrinking. You gotta be.
Oh my God.
But I do like a hot shower. Yeah. I don't know though. Those are my favorite things. Hot showers and sleep are like my favorite things.
Yeah, it's like top two, literally.
They are,
Yeah.
you know. That's why I knew it would be a tough question.
That is a good. Would you rather?
We should.
I'm more of a bath person than I am a shower person, though.
I am. Yeah, I am too.
Like a hot bath.
Do you guys have hot tubs at all? Because that would be like my luxury item if I owned something.
I want a hot tub.
Yes.
Want one.
Yeah. I imagine my ideal life is like living in a tiny house, but having a big barn. And the barn, half of it is my gym, and the other half is the goats and the bunnies and all the animals. And then right at the front, there's like a garage door. And then I put the hot tub there. And in the wintertime, if the door is open, hot tub, like that's what I want.
That sounds amazing.
That does sound good.
So if my sugar daddy is listening,
Play.
should I say same? Do you think that you would miss the like winter weather at all? Like I feel like I need to be loyal to Michigan a little bit, but I don't know. I do like it. Like, I think if I had a hot tub outside in the wintertime, that would definitely make living in the cold more tolerable. Or would you just be like, Brooke, I'm moving to Florida. See ya.
I'm 100% moving to Florida. See, the crazy thing is, I'm in Arkansas, and you guys are way further up north than me. And the winters here in Arkansas are too brutal. Too much, can't do it. I hate being cold.
Yeah.
I hate it.
Same. Yeah. What's the coldest it gets in Arkansas?
Oh gosh, it was like 23 degrees this morning.
Oh.
That's way too cold for me. I mean, I have to like go out there and start my car and warm it up, and I get to the gym, and I'm like, this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Yeah. And I'll tell you, so I wear shorts basically all the time, because I work in a gym, you know what I mean? So, and it's every year. Yesterday I go to Home Depot and someone's like, aren't you so cold? I'm only outside for about 3 to 5 minutes, So I hate that. But yeah, I'm like the person, I'll wear shorts and flip-flops and it's like 20 degrees outside. Totally me. I had a hoodie on though.
I'm like leggings. I'm like leggings and a sweater. Now I can go to church. Leggings. Just like,
Yeah, if you put a nice sweater on over your leggings, it's like, okay, I'm dressed up now.
yeah. Put like my combat boots on instead of my tennis shoes. Now I have a full outfit.
100%.
That's so funny. Yeah, I like have a closet full of dress clothes. Like I used to work in insurance and all this stuff. And I always think like, oh, maybe I don't know why. It's like, why do I have any of these clothes? I don't even know if they fit me. You know, you're like, or like jeans. Do you guys ever put jeans on?
I have like 2 pairs.
I don't think I even have any jeans. I don't think I have any that fit me, honestly.
So I got these mom jeans, you know, and I bought them at the wrong time because I was in prep. So I was like super small at that point, and they were real loose on me. And I put them on the other day and they're not real loose. They're like real tight. Like I probably should not have gotten this size, but whatever.
You'll be back there soon.
Yeah,
You'll be soon.
I'll wear these again.
What's your weight difference like from off season? Do you know, like off season to
yeah. Well, okay. So I was kind of fluctuating. I got down, I kid you not, from the Olympia, I was losing weight. Like it was insane. So I had woken up at 134 the day of the Olympia. And when I got back to my hotel that night, I was 130. It was insane. I was just like dropping weight, and I was eating. It wasn't that I was eating, not eating. I was freaking like pounding it, you know? But typically 148 is where I feel most comfortable in my off season. 148 is my number. If I get over 148, I kind of start to feel pretty rough, you know? 148, I feel good. I feel comfortable. I feel like I can perform at that weight. But for whatever reason, that's always, and it's kind of gradually, I think, increased, because I remember at one time, 142 was kind of like my number, you know, and then each year it just seems like it kind of gradually goes up to by like 3 pounds or so. So 148 is the number this go round.
This go round.
Garrett, do you want to talk about your weight?
So when I think, yeah, when I would compete, it was like I was about that too, like 130, between like 132, 135 on stage, I think. And then like off season, I just sucked with. I would get up to like 150, sometimes like 160. The heaviest I've ever been, and when I was like powerlifting, I got up to like 170, and it was like thick. And I mean, but I was like in my 20s, so it worked. I mean, I was solid. But yeah, like I'm 5'3", so it's like that's not really where I'm meant to be. So yeah, I always could notice the difference. I'm like, this is too much for me. But like right now, I've been steadily staying around like 150, which is I'm fine with. I mean, I'd like to lose a little bit, but yeah, I'm comfortable. My body has been like this for quite a while now, so it's like comfortable, I guess. So yeah.
Brooke, how tall are you?
5'2" and a quarter.
That's cool. That's awesome. Yeah, I'm like just over 145. I would like to be 138, I think. I just haven't made that push. Brooke, if you would like to coach 10 pounds off me, let me know. All right. We got anything else? You guys got anything else? Any great stories? Any last words of advice? Kira, what is your new Instagram? Let's make sure everyone knows that.
Oh, it is. Oh God, I have to look that now. I think it's just hold on. Because I have to have my name and title. Ifbb Pro. I'm not gonna lose that. Kira Newman. That's what I went with.
All right.
The Kira Newman.
Mm-hmm. I followed you. Of course. I'm like, now I'm gonna be posting some stupid shit because I have to catch up. I'm like, what am I gonna do? Just post all my old like photo shoot pictures and
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's kind of cool. Like if I started over, I would be much more selective about the pictures that I posted. So I think that's really cool.
Yeah, we'll see.
I was gonna say somebody had requested. There was a girl. She had a great question. I want to quick cover this before we go. But I did talk to you guys about talking about the Arnold competitors and stuff like that. And I think we should cover the shows. I think that would be really, really awesome.
Okay.
So I will look up those lists, and then I think there's some software that I can look into so that we can actually go onto Instagram and like look at some of the physiques when we're talking about them. So I'll see what I can do about that. And I was honestly thinking if anybody wants to sponsor the show, you know, not a lot, but I definitely don't like paying like $700 out of pocket every year for Zoom. And so if anybody wants to do that, otherwise I'll look into seeing if we can get sponsors. I also like not having commercials is really, really nice. So I don't know, maybe individual sponsors like, hey, you want to sponsor the show for a month?
Yeah.
That's a good idea.
Get some of and we'll just shout you out every time about how awesome you are.
And if you can put like, basically like instructions or a link on just some like little, hey, like in the bio or something, then we can share it and then I can share it too. And that would be good.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. The question this girl asked, let's see, it was about being on birth control during prep. Give me a second. Well, I mean, something like birth control can be a big problem when people are trying. I'll just flat out say, I was on birth control in my early 20s because I was diagnosed with endometriosis. So my doctor gave me, and I was on different ones. I cycled through different ones for about, it was definitely no more than like 2.5 years. I hated them. I hated birth control. Every time I was on any type of pill, I always experienced horrible side effects. Like my acne would get worse. I would bloat up and down 10 pounds every month. It definitely did not help the endometriosis. And I hated it. And I was never able to like lose weight. So I'm very anti birth control because I think it just causes a lot of problems. And if you need to use birth control to like prevent pregnancy, I would always be like, I mean, even, I always use condoms and stuff like that, even when, like with my husband. So I'm like, I would say condoms or using like, the timing methods probably are, you don't want to have sex while you're ovulating. So if you're trying to prevent pregnancy, but it can very, very much affect trying to lose weight and trying to build muscle, because essentially you're adding estrogen, which is great for, femininity and soft, supple skin and all that stuff. But it does help make you retain body fat and hold water and prevent you from building muscle. So, if you think you're experiencing that, you probably are. And will it make contest prep harder? I can't guarantee, but I would say there's a good chance. So she was like, should I go off? I think it was something, I can't find the question, but it was something about, should I go off birth control when I do prep? I mean, even if it's only for that time, but I don't know how long it takes for the hormones to get out of your system as well. I think
you're just messing with, because I've had girls ask me that and I'm like, I'm not a doctor. I can't say for sure, but what I will say is you're fluctuating your hormones too drastically in such a short period of time. I think you're going to take more time to come off of it and like than anything. And I just, that's a very, that's touchy. Yeah. I would say, I don't like it either, Deb. I don't like birth control. There's so many women who have issues having taken it for years and years and years. So yeah, I mean, I would never recommend somebody coming off it. How about that? I would say, talk to your doctor.
Yeah.
That would be.
Yeah.
I personally, I'm not on birth control, and I never have been on birth control during a prep. I think it's just, again, kind of person dependent. Like, I'm not a medical professional. So, and I know a lot of women have asked me that question, and it's kind of like, can there be some drawbacks whenever you're trying to compete and you're on birth control? Yeah, absolutely. I think sometimes you just have to weigh it out and talk to your doctor about your goals and kind of see what might work best for you, but on the other end, you do see some women that have had some like negative issues with birth control, just in general, not even from a competitive standpoint. So I think it's just really important to maybe talk to your doctor about those issues, talk to your doctor about your goals. I would never say to anybody, oh yeah, you absolutely need to come off of birth control. I would maybe give them my opinion on, yeah, they might respond a little bit better if they do, but you also kind of got to weigh it out. What's going to be best for you? Obviously, if you're using birth control to prevent pregnancy and other issues, whatever. But for me, I've never done it. And if I'm trying to prevent a pregnancy, I'm just responsible, so
Yeah.
we can be responsible adults without being on birth control, right? Maybe.
Yeah.
Mostly.
So there's no way to get pregnant. No, over here.
Unless I'm on the whiskey. Yeah, I would, if she hasn't had a problem with it, get started and see how it's going. I mean, birth control is like anything. You have to weigh out, the risk versus the reward. I had a client too who she was on NuvaRing, and she had it was after trying all these different birth controls, but she would get violently ill around her menstrual cycle. So they had to, she had to get on birth control to basically stop her periods. And so it's like, what do you think about what you're taking it for? Think about what your options are. Do you feel differently when you're on it versus when you're off of it? And I wouldn't say like, hey, I'm starting my prep, I got to go off my birth control. Get started and see how it's working for you. But, because you never know, a lot of women lose weight very, very, very slowly anyways. So, maybe it would help, maybe it wouldn't, but I do think it takes, 3 to 4 months for those hormones to get out of your system as well. So you don't even, once you go off it, you have a bleed, but then you don't necessarily, you're not necessarily ovulating and actually so it takes some time for that to get back to normal as well. So I know I've told Anna before too, I don't want you taking any type of birth control. So I'm like, if I end up with a grandbaby, I'm like, we'll figure it out.
That is a great question though, because I have seen so many people on both ends of the spectrum kind of preach, well, talk to a medical professional. And then you've had some people that are like, absolutely come off of birth control. You know what I mean? I've seen that. I've seen people kind of recommend that. And I think it just, like you said, Deb, if you're not having issues with your birth control to begin with, maybe just see what you do whenever you try to go through a dieting phase, because if you're responsive, then you're probably fine, but a lot of times too, I think we have to listen to our bodies, instead of sometimes going to somebody and asking them their opinion or for their help. That's one thing. And I'm totally okay with that. But sometimes I'm like, well, listen to your body. What's going on right now? So are you already having issues with your birth control to begin with, or are you not, before you go to somebody and they're like, hey, should I come off of birth control? Should I stay on it? It's a lot of times it just depends on the person, and I tell people that all the time, I'm not a doctor, I can give you maybe my opinion, but please do your own research, because I never want that coming back on me. Oh, Brooke told me to come off birth control. Look at me now. No. Yeah. That's not how that conversation happened. But I can give you my opinion or what's worked for me in the past, but I will always tell people, regardless of what it is, do your research, take it upon yourself to kind of go and talk to somebody that is qualified in that aspect, because at the end of the day, we're not a doctor, you know what I mean? And there's a lot of coaches out there that, they think they might be smarter than some of these doctors, but what do I know?
This is how Brooke is going to get her baby that she wants.
100%. You're so right. I just am going to get a dose of karma, right? Oh, you're not on birth control? Here's a baby for you.
And then somebody's going to be like, oh, Brooke told me to go off birth control, not have a baby. Give it to Brooke.
Yeah, that's it. That's fine. I need somebody to take care of me eventually. Problem solved.
Yeah.
You know, the other thing to consider is like, if your birth control is serving a purpose, like keeping you from having horrible menstrual cycles, I know from every contest prep I've done, you know, or anytime I've tried to, you know, I've gone on a weight loss or a cutting phase, there's always a week where no progress happens because my periods are so bad. And I've figured out how to do that, especially with maintenance now, because I usually just bump up calories and tone down training that week. And it's a very easy way for me to manage my life at this point. But I didn't really think about how to manage that during prep. And it was always a fight like that week of my period, because they were just, you know, always bent over, miserable, horrible pain, bloated up. You know, you see the scale go up 3 pounds or 5 pounds during a prep is such a mind game. So, you know, if it's helping you in that way, then it might make your prep easier if you aren't going through this cycle of having a shit week every 3 weeks or every 4 weeks. So yeah, like you said, Brooke, very, very person dependent for sure. Yeah. All right. Well, ladies, this was really awesome. Thank you.
Thank you. Again.
I was going to give Melissa so much shit about putting bananas in her chocolate shakes, but next time.
Next Sunday.
So, bye.
Bye, girls.
Remember that healthy looks different on everybody. Have a great day.